With Halloween right around the corner, today we are tackling one of the scariest parenting topics of all time. It is all about talking about sex. For many parents, when it comes to raising kids, they find it quite challenging to navigate these necessary conversations, especially with their preteens or teens. Joining us today through Healthy Family Partnership is marriage and family consultant Alvean Lyons with a few great tips navigating us through the sensitive topic of sex. It's the most difficult conversation a parent's going to have with the kids. How can we navigate through this reasonably?
And it's not easy, it's true. And this Halloween season, so it is the scariest parenting topic that we're going to ever deal with. But there are three things I want us to consider. So the first thing I want you to consider is D. You have to discuss this in a non-judgmental environment. Like, it really does make a difference how you're feeling about it, because even though we don't say certain things, how we feel is sort of seeping out through our skin as parents. Having a non-judgment zone that says, listen, whatever you say to me, I'm going to be able to take this in. I may feel funny about it, and I admit that I feel strange about it, but we have to have this conversation. So I'm going to decide to set aside how I might be feeling in order for us to successfully do this. So that's the first thing. Not easy, but has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, environment. Understand your environment. Our kids live in a hyper-sexualized environment. They get it through television, they get it through media, they're getting it at school. Everywhere you can think of is over-sexualized at this point. But you can actually, as a parent, use that to your benefit, which means sit down and watch one of these reality television shows that you generally wouldn't be caught dead watching, ever. Sit down with your kids and watch one. It's particularly something that they normally watch. Use it as a mechanism to start the conversation. Because sometimes we don't know where to start, because we don't talk about certain kinds of things. We may never have had the talk when we were kids, so, or young adults even. But we have to create an environment where we have someplace to begin. So those television shows will always give you an in to have a conversation. This third thing is F. Have a framework for your discussion. Know the facts. The worst thing you can do as a parent of our generation is have a conversation with our kids using terminology that they haven't even heard of, because they call it something different. Take a little time to do a little bit of homework to figure out what is it that they're saying, so I understand what you're telling me, so we're having the same discussion about the same things. And then know the information that is necessary to be able to protect your kids, medically speaking, emotionally speaking, all of those things. And it's also a great time to know your values on it. Because whatever you're thinking, because I said previously it's going to come through your pores, your kid's going to be receiving that. And that's the time where you want to establish what are your particular boundaries about it. When do you believe is the appropriate time for them to engage in these things? When should we start this kind of activity? And it's major, but you've got to have a framework.
Well, we know that these conversations are happening in school. They're happening with their peers, not just that, but also their teachers. They're talking about teen pregnancy. They're talking about STDs. They're also talking about safe sex, but you have, as a parent, have to step in and reinforce that.
Absolutely, and understand that none of these other environments are going to include your values on the issue. So you have to be able to create the atmosphere for your kids to want to have this conversation with you. That's the only way for you to share your values with them. Otherwise, they are operating based on their own little teenage judgment, and we know we don't want that. So we certainly have to make sure that we create the opportunity for the conversation to be happening between us.
A lot of parents just don't have the conversation they need to.
It's true, but we have to use everything we possibly can to create the atmosphere to begin the discussion. Our kids have to hear it from us, not their friends. That is the source for constant misinformation.
Great advice, Alvean. For more information, you can contact Healthy Families Partnership on the website hampton.gov/healthyfamilies, or give them a call at 727-1300. Good advice, Alvean.
Thanks, Chris.